Okay, all right there. Miss VS. Good old Morris. Back at you. Okay, so I put one new rose down today. I promise you to do a good close-up on all of these roses out here. Here's a Chrysler Imperial. Very, very beautiful hybrid tea rose, beautiful deep dark red color. And they're getting used to being into the ground. I think they kind of went into shock just a little. And you give it just a couple of weeks, this thing is going to be twice the size. Sweet lemonade, strong sweet lemonade fragrance. Beautiful damask scented. Oh, that's just that fine wine, that touch of wine fragrance in this really intensely fragrant rose, hybrid tea rose, Chrysler Imperial. Have a Mr. Lincoln, which is the offspring rose to its mother rose, the Chrysler Imperial. Very close in color. They're basically identical in color for what I see. The Mr. Lincoln and the Chrysler Imperial. This Mr. Lincoln smells similar to the Chrysler Imperial. It's, I don't know, kind of a very fruity, sweet lemon raspberry, very strong fragrance with a hint of red wine. Very much like this Chrysler Imperial. This Chrysler Imperial is slightly a bit more citrusy than this Mr. Lincoln. This rose smells like sweet lemonade, and that's the truth. With a hint of red wine. And we've got this Oklahoma that's going to spring out. This Oklahoma that you see there, I had to chop it all the way down so that it can grow back correctly. And this Oklahoma, here's another Oklahoma up here so you can know what the Oklahoma looks like. Oklahoma is very beautiful, deep, dark black red. Hybrid tea rose. This Oklahoma is the darkest of all of my roses, and among the darkest of all roses, these beautiful Oklahomas. And the fragrance is just such an exquisite, swoon-worthy, strong, powerful, fragrant rose. It smells to me very, very close to the Mr. Lincoln, almost identical. I can definitely smell that sweet lemonade in this one as well. I can smell these kind of berries, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries. Just a fruity, with a hint of red wine. This lovely Oklahoma. And so these that I had to prune all the way back down, this is the same rose here. So I'm going to have that deep, dark black rose right up here close to the porchy baby. And here's my tiller, my Honda Mantis tiller. I dug up half of this yard with this thing here. Before I knew how to operate it correctly, I got the shovel and got a hump in my back, and I was a working motherfucker. And I did much of this really with the shovel. And that was hard work, and this made it so much easier and quicker to get done. Here's my firefighter. And I put this down, I think it was yesterday. It's kind of getting used to the ground. If you notice the way the leaves look so burnt on this one here, this one looks okay. This is a beautiful dark red rose, and this is the fruity. This is a strong, powerful, fruity fragrance. And this is a powerful fragrance. Like I said, it's so fruity. And I love this firefighter hybrid tea rose. They grow really tall, and they have a beautiful dark red color. This thing is a fast bloomer, just like the Chrysler Imperial. And this thing here, right, it smells like a big old punch of fruit punch. That's the way I would describe this one. Here is these Mr. Lincolns. #1 rose in the world, the Mr. Lincoln. And I guess you would be #1 in the world. I guess you would be the #1 rose in the world if your mother is the Chrysler Imperial. But that thing over there just maybe my all around favorite hybrid tea rose here. Hey, all right, look at here. We've got a good shot of myself here. Can you see me, WS here? Okay. Hi, VS. Okay. Yeah. I'm over here filming this thing here. You can kind of see me in the background. Okay. Yeah. And then we've got the Pope John Paul. Right, I'm sorry. Back to these Mr. Lincolns here. #1 rose in the world. The #1 seller every year. And look at how dark those Mr. Lincoln buds are. Those deep, dark buds on these Mr. Lincolns. This is a slow bloomer as well as in Oklahoma. They're slow bloomer, but I think if you cut these things right, you can get a lot of roses out of these Mr. Lincolns. But they're definitely the slowest of all of the roses that I've noticed. And to be #1 in output rose is so slow. Wow, what a contradiction. But this is an outstanding rose. #1 rose in the world, the Mr. Lincoln. And like I said, you can't be #1 without your mother being a Chrysler Imperial. They also have these dark buds, beautiful dark buds, and these lovely Chrysler Imperial Hybrid Tea roses here. And this firefighter, I smelled it earlier, and I'm telling you, good people, this rose smells pretty damn good, very strong. These Pope John Pauls, are the second. The only time I've ever gotten a white rose. You know, I never go for the white roses, the yellow roses or the orange. But when I smelled this one here, I had to add this one, yes, all up in the mix. This Pope John II Hybrid Tea Rose, white. Smells very much like that Chrysler Imperial over there. This thing has a strong, citrusy, sweet lemonade fragrance, very much like the Chrysler Imperial. Only I like the Chryslers slightly better. I love my Chrysler Imperials. And these Mr. Lincolns, all these beautiful buds. And this is the one that came out the ground right. When I pruned these roses, these came out the way I want them to come out. You want for your roses to come out with long canes, and you don't want a round, bushy rose bush. And so half of this one came out with a bunch of short leaves. So I recut this one down here. So there should be some more of this one. I say about 3 or 4 more really tall canes loaded with all of these roses. Yes. In just a few weeks. Once again, oh yeah, and the Mr. Lincoln, beautiful, deep, dark, velvety red. Velvety, dark, wine-colored red hybrid tea rose with just the most outstanding fragrance. So fruity, so fruity. I can smell that lemon. I can smell those blackberries, blueberries. Just an outstanding fragrance, a fruity rose with a hint of red wine, just like the Chrysler Imperial and the Oklahomas, this Mr. Lincoln. And that is a true family affair among these roses here, because that Chrysler Imperial over there is the mother rose to this Mr. Lincoln and this Oklahoma that we're going to look at here. The Chrysler Imperial right there. There's another Chrysler Imperial that was mated with Charles Malloran rose and produced this Oklahoma, that Mr. Lincoln over there, and it also produced a third rose, a Papa Milan, and that one is found mainly in France. So 3 roses were produced out of the mating process of that Chrysler Imperial right there. And this Oklahoma, look at the deep, dark, red wine-colored hybrid tea rose. Look how beautiful these things are, and they smell like something in heaven, good people. And I'm not talking about that heaven, I'm not talking about that heaven in your Bible. You're talking about a beautiful rose, deep, dark, black red. Oklahoma hybrid tea rose here. And you've got this Chrysler Imperial. I've gone Chrysler Imperial crazy. This is my go-to rose, because this one here is a very fast-blooming rose, and it has the beautiful, deep, dark, red, deep, velvety, dark, wine-colored, red hybrid tea rose. My lovely Chrysler Imperial. This could be my overall favorite because of its fast-blooming nature, its sturdiness, and the color, just the epitome of of what a red rose should look like. I love the beautiful color of my Chrysler Imperial Hybrid Tea Rose. Like I said earlier, this thing smells like a very strong, sweet, good picture of good sweet lemonade. A very citrusy fragrance. And that hint of red wine, the intense fragrance, beautiful fragrance of the lovely Chrysler Imperial Hybrid Tea Rose here. Over here we have a firefighter here, another firefighter. I've got the Pretty Lady Rose here. I'm going to have to dig this thing back up and give it more water here. This is a hot pink. It's a deep, dark, hot pink, which is my mother's favorite color. The Pretty Lady Hybrid Tea Rose. This is a spreading rose. It'll get taller, but it spreads the same way this other one does. This Pretty Lady Hybrid Tea Rose, and this has a strong fragrance. A very unusual fragrance, yet very beautiful. It has this kind of perfumey type of fragrance that can be very intoxicating. Another firefighter. I love firefighters for their durability and their ability to produce scores and scores of roses. The Sedona Hybrid Tea Rose here. This is a tropical sunset rose, very, very beautiful, and a very powerful, strong fragrance. All of my roses have to have strong, beautiful fragrances. This thing is a combination of coral red, coral pink, coral orange, almost like pastel colors. And this rose, it truly glows. It's a very glowy rose here. It's beautiful to look at. It's a combination of coral red, coral pink, coral orange, just unbelievable. And once the rose opens up into full bloom, it turns into this kind of pastel pink, coral pink, tropical sunset pink, just beautiful. And it has this tropical orange, tropical pear type of strong, beautiful fragrance. I love this Sedona Hybrid Tea Rose here. Here's another rose here. This is the Miss All-American Beauty Rose. You see, I had to cut it all the way down so that it can come back the right way. I didn't cut it right the first time. So just give this one about 3 weeks, and this thing is going to sprout up, and it's going to stand totally erect and produce lovely roses for a good brother. There, Miss V.S. And here's another, Mr. Lincoln. #1 rose in the world. Beautiful. Deep, 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 dark, beautiful red, unbelievable color. And the Lasting Love Hybrid Tea Rose. This Lasting Love has natural shiny leaves, very, very shiny. And it produces these really dark mahogany red roses with swirls of mahogany hot pink at the same time. Very, very strong fragrance. Old rose fragrance. It's not really sweet and fruity like a lot of these other ones. It's just a strong rose fragrance. Just an unbelievable fragrance. It's very strong. The Lasting Love Hybrid Tea Rose. And then last, we've got the Don Juan Hybrid Tea Rose. Yes, this is the Morris Rose. Yes, this is me, Mr. Don Juan here. This thing will grow 20 to 25 feet tall. This beautiful Don Juan. And it will produce scores and scores of these really dark red and so velvety hybrid tea roses on a climbing rose. And I love the Don Juan. I had to recut it, and I actually cut out one of these canes with 2 roses on it. I was like, wow, I messed up. As you can see, the new cuts down there, and there are a few other new cuts down there. So this is going to fill up. Just give it about 3 or 4 weeks, and this baby will stand tall, really, straight up and upright. Yes, totally erect, and produce some real roses for a good brother. There, Miss V.S. And this Chrysler Imperial here. This one got sick. It's still kind of sick. I had to cut out some of the roses because it was drooping so bad. I had to take out a few, and hopefully this one can stand upright, and this one here. Now, you know, this one has a crook in its neck. A lot of roses do that, and so I'm hoping that this one is going to be fine and stay erect and not bent over like this one. I had to cut out 3 other ones. They were totally drooping. So I'm hoping that this thing is on its road to recovery. Okay, so I can come out here and give you like a front view of what I've got going on with my rose garden here. I have a few more to go. I don't live here, I just own this property. And it's been vacant for about 10 years now. Let's see what's happening in my backyard there, Miss VS. Yeah. I cut down some trees. I will be cutting down all of these bushes up against this fence. All of it will be coming down. I got this really nice. I've got this, the chainsaw of my dreams last year. And I will be taking down that big tree in my neighbor's backyard. I'm taking all of these down here. Now I can do this here. It looks bigger than what it is, this one here. I can take this down with a regular electric saw. But I will need a chainsaw to take this big bad boy down here. And these up against the fence. The roots are very thick, so I will have to break out the chainsaw. I talk so fast, I have to tone it down, to slow it down. Here's the backyard here, and I will have a rose garden. I'm going to put a rose garden all up against the house and against the fence, and taking all of those trees. I hate trees. Yeah, and this is a pretty large backyard here. I bought this house from my sister about 20 years ago, and now it's vacant, and it's been vacant for about 10 years. And I'm thinking about putting a swimming pool right here in this area over here. And yes, I'm going to be out here doing it myself too. You better believe it. I can't afford to have these contractors to come out here and do this. They will charge so much. And I would have I would most definitely do my own driveway. That patch of grass is going to come up, and I'm going to take all of that cement up, and I'm going to do a driveway. I'm going to come up with a design. I'm going to show it to you once I get finished. I can show you some trees that I already cut down. I cut this one down about 3 months ago. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. These are pretty big trees here. My chainsaw took it out like it wasn't nothing. This was a big tall tree. It's cut down about maybe 3 feet, and it has grown out of those leaves and things. I can easily take those out. These bags here are full of soil that I dug up out of the front yard. The way I dug up half the front yard, and I still have all these bags left to get rid of. Just have to be out there every 2 weeks on Tuesday and get the paper bags and line them up out front, and pickup people will come and get it. But it's going to take a while because there was so much. It was so much that I dug up in the front. And yeah, I can give you a good view of the backyard from here. It's a pretty large size. This thing is pretty big. And but now I am concentrating really more on the front. Yeah. I dug up all of that. And along here I will be cementing. I would take this down about maybe 5 inches, and I'm going to put some gravel, rock, and sand, and then I'm going to mix up my white cement, and I'm going to build a paver, and then I will cover it with white rock, white stones, all along the lines that you see here up against the house. And then I got to clean up. Oh man, wow! I got to clean all this mess up all down in here. And then I'm going to take all of this grass out to the side. Take all the grass out, and then I'm going to do roses all along the side of the house. Or I might even just do white rock, white stone from the front to the fence, and just line it up. And you can see where I've kind of lined it up there. All that would be white stone. And then along here, you can see where I dug up this area here, this long stretch. I will be putting an 18-inch, really wide, very modern white divider, or white paver, from one end to the other, to right here. And I plan for it to be very nice. Right there, what's the dealie there, Rod? Yeah, I'm doing documentary for YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, okay.
All right. I'll let you know when it's done.
All right.
Okay, Ra. Okay. Yeah, yeah. And so, we're right. Yeah, right here. From one end to this end over here. And this will be a white paver. It's going to be 18 inches wide, really nice. And then you see where the porch is. From this end of the porch to this slab of cement here, right through here, from here to the sidewalk, I will do another 18-inch wide paver, and in the middle it would be my pool. It's going to be a pond with a fountain in the middle, and it's going to really be nice. Me being the east side kid that I live by the river, and I'm always on the river, and I'm always out there at good sweet Belle Isle. So I'm bringing the Detroit River, yes, and the Belle Isle Fountain right with me up over here on the northwest side of the city. And the pond, yeah, I want to have it. You see the porch there? It's going to be pretty much the same width of the porch all through here. Beautiful blue water with a fountain in the middle. I've got a couple of complaints from some of my neighbors, and these were the guys who said, if you do this, you're going to bring too many mosquitoes. I said, man, that muggy weather bring these mosquitoes up in here, and ain't nothing you can do about it. How you going to stop folks from putting their ponds and swimming pools in their cribs? These other folks who want to kind of jazz it up a bit here. Huh? All right. The ladies, there were some guys complaining, but the ladies would always drive by and they'll see me out here digging and shoveling and, you know, doing that real man work. And they always stop by just to say hello and tell me how beautiful my roses look. I give you this angle shot of Morris's, yes, Morris's Tropical Gigolo Gardens, baby. You see that? And I'm going to lay it out. This is going to be white, beautiful, bright white paver, cement. And then the pool would be, we'll start from this corner of this slab all the way to the sidewalk to that end of the porch over there. So it would be a nice sized pond. And I would be calling, yes, the state of Michigan to have these motherfuckers to register my pond as an official lake, yes, in the city of Detroit, and I ain't playing either. Lake Morris, yes. You know, you see everybody's homes. Very nice, but where are the roses? I don't see not Nan, not goddamn Nan, not Nair, not even a nary. Motherfucking rose. But when you get to my crib, it's blazing, yes. With roses, Miss VS. This video is just for you, Miss VS. Speaking of you, Miss VS, I want to show you one of my Miss VS roses. Look at that beautiful Miss VS rose. This rose is very beautiful and sweet and intoxicating, Miss VS, just like you are. Very smart, very clever, and very beautiful. A sister on the move and ready to do some really good things with her life. Beautiful VS, Hybrid Tea Rose. Here's my other Miss VS, Hybrid Tea Rose, yes. On this lovely Chrysler Imperial Hybrid Tea Rose. The lovely Miss VS Rose here. Okay, VS, I'm going to give you this angle of Morris's, yes. Morris's Tropical Gigolo Gardens. All back in here, there are roses here too. You see this here? Okay, that one. I had to recut it all the way down, and there are other canes that you don't see that I cut. And this thing is going to sprout out, baby, some big roses. Yes, just give it 2 or 3 weeks. I did not cut it right the first time, but I got it right the second time. And so this rose garden here is going to fill up. The mail lady told me yesterday, she said, you have a serious rose garden. I said, yes, that was the point. Serious about my business. And I think I have a little bit of that VS spirit in me. Oh, yes, I do. Because I'm that motherfucker who dares, yes, to be different. And my shit would be different than everybody on this block. I told you earlier, Mr. Bill's house. Best house on the block. Mr. Bill, oh yeah. Gives you that Florida, California feel. You know, flatter top, modern ranch, beautiful. His layout is beautiful. His foliage and plants is beautiful, but it does not compete with mine. I told Mr. Bill, there's a yes. I said, you are the king, yes, of this street here. I said, but I'm coming for your crown there, brother, and I'm coming for your throne. Yes, and I'm ready to run this street here with the most beautiful and uniquely done crib, yes, up in this mother F. Out here working this garden. And now this chiller here, this Mantis chiller with the Honda engine, this thing here, allowed me, it's how I dug up. All this was grass that you see here. Just a bunch of grass, and I'm tired of the grass, and I dug it all up. And the only remainder of the grass that you will see from where I cut it up at is right here on the side. I'm going to take it out sometime this week, and I will put 2 roses, but the rest will be a beautiful white stone that I will line the house up with. Yes. My day out here in my rose garden here. I guess roses are the only things that I grow outdoors. I also love my marginata plants, marginatas, and I will do a documentary on my love for marginatas. This is straight up horticulture. You don't know what horticulture is? It's the study of hoes. I'm just playing. Good old horticulture. Batteries out.